distance between us can't seem to find my way home. Stumbling and trying to see past my mind, though I'm alone. I tell you you're selfish, but you can't quite see through the smoke. So I'll sit and stare at the wall, blinded by your show. I see it black and blue too. I don't want to choose you no more. I both fairly confused, and I'm probably the problem you swore. And you're not here to see it, and I don't know why I'm crying.
Tongue-tied in turmoil, I can't find the right words to say. And I crunched the numbers, it just didn't work in my brain. And I think I'm done here, it's time that you got your way. Say what you want to, I'm tired of being afraid. Oh, see black and blue till I don't wanna choose you no more.
choose you no more. Apathetic, confused, and I'm probably the problem you swore. And you're not here to see it. And I don't know, I'm trying.
Hello, everyone. God bless you all who are a part of my kindred people of God. I hope all of you had a wonderful Sabbath today. I apologize that I didn't get to do a Sabbath stream with you all, but I was grateful to at least make it home in time to start one tonight. And I apologize for having to be so late getting started, but I literally just rushed in the door and slammed everything on the table and hooked everything up and got it all going as quick as I could and hit go as soon as I could. So I don't have an agenda for tonight. So much happened this week. I mean, I maybe we'll be able to cover some of it if some of you mention anything in the chat. So much happened. It was a little bit of information overload for me. I was really busy through the week, and then I had fellowshipping to do with my friends and things, and so it's just been a crazy go week. And so I needed to try to come up with something to pick for the week to talk about, so I thought, and I was thinking about it through the day today, but I was so distracted with everyone I was with and everything that it was hard for me to really try to come up with anything in particular to focus on. So we'll go by whatever you all want to mention tonight. And let me just say hello to anyone who was a first noticer. Joey, hello, God bless you, and happy Sabbath. I hope you had a wonderful Sabbath today. Evan Smith, first noticer, also, happy Sabbath, God bless you, and I hope you had a happy Sabbath today. And Sarah Hollow, hello, God bless you, and she said she can listen for a little bit, and then she's got to go. I appreciate it anytime you feel like stopping by. And thank you for chiming in and letting us know that you are listening. I appreciate that. And let me check and make sure I haven't missed it. Okay. All right. Good stuff. So, yes, I really don't know what topic to start with or anything. I really just wanted to say hello to everyone and encourage everyone to stick with it and stay at it. And I know that a lot of doom and gloom occurred this week. A lot of attacks on our people happened this week. I didn't even post them all. I told someone in another stream, 2 streams back or so, that I was going to post about another Nog that attacked and killed someone recently, and I never got around to doing that one. But I do have it screenshotted. I did for whoever that was that told me about that 1 or 2 or 3 streams back, and I replied that I would post about it. I did go look it up, and I did screenshot the stuff, but I have so much new stuff to build on a slideshow that I didn't have time to do it today. I didn't have time to do anything today, and so I was having a good time today, and there was just no way for me to build anything before today. I was super slammed on preparation day and all week, really. So my apologies for running the same slideshow. I do have all the fresh, new, terrible things that have happened to our people and Calergy plan and advertisements and all those examples for you all to screenshot if you like. Available coming next stream. But this one, I just couldn't get them edited and built into a folder, and it just wasn't possible for me this week. But I will have a whole bunch of fresh stuff that's happened this week and last week. And, if I do it on Tuesday or whenever, however many extra days, whatever else terrible has happened to us since then. And, I hate to have to do it that way, but basically, I want I wanted my channel to be, I wanted these streams to sometimes be, not every time, but sometimes be a source for you to stop at and just screenshot, 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 screenshot. And that way you build folders of all the examples that I offer from everything that's been popping up on YouTube and on the internet that I stumble across. And that way when someone tries to argue down with you about why non-whites shouldn't be allowed to exist in our country, you can give them just example after example. You can just sit there and swipe, 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 swipe. You know what I mean? And have all of them screenshotted from this channel, from one of the streams, and just be able to just crack along one after another after another. This white person would be alive. These white people would be alive. This white couple would be alive. This elderly white lady would still be alive. This little girl would still be alive. This white boy would still be alive. And you just go and go and go and go through the examples, and you never run out. That's the thing, is if you go and screenshot all the different streams, all the examples on all of my streams, you will have over 11,000. And so, and I'm adding new ones every time. You know, it just so happens this stream I wasn't able to, but I already have hundreds and hundreds more new ones screenshotted, and I just need to edit them to clean them up. And that by cleaning them up, it actually blows them up bigger automatically for me, which is very helpful for people online to be able to see them properly. So I just, I just couldn't do it this time, but that is what these streams are for. Sometimes is for you all to be able to just screenshot one after another, and then just put it all in a folder afterwards. All these are already edited. Granted, I guess it wouldn't be for you all. You'd have to edit it yourself again, but still, maybe if you're in full screen mode when you're watching, you'd be able to just bang, bang, bang and screenshot them all. So, that's really what that is for, so that, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to go try to collect all these examples of evidence of things that happen that are terrible to our people and kill our people and all these things. Sometimes it catches someone off guard. They're like, oh, what are you talking about? They try to act like it's not happening and it never happens and it's anomalous and all these things. You can be like, oh, yeah, fool. And you can just whoop out your phone, hit that folder that's got all the examples you've saved from my channel on it, and then you can just start swiping one after another. This white couple would be alive. This white boy would be alive. This little white girl would be alive. This nice young lady would be alive. And just on and on you can go. Now let's see who else has chimed in. Sir Jack is here, y'all. Hello. God bless you. Wow. All right. Special guest. Appreciate you stopping by, sir. Thank you very much. And we all look forward to the next stream of yours, or 2 or 3 or 5. You can just keep blowing them out every day, man, whenever you feel like, bro. And we always look forward to those. So, gosh, I honestly, I don't know which thing to pick. I mean, things have been crazy this week. So much wacko stuff. And there was so much crazy stuff last week that we didn't even touch on, you know what I mean? And then counting this week too, it's really been a big, big pile of negativity on our people. And especially the ones who, get the news updates every day of all the different things and whatever. I mean, I know it's a heavy burden on our people. And, this is, since we are in year 1 of Jacob's trouble, you're going to see more and more and more white people slaughtered, more and more white people cucked away, more and more white people just ruining themselves. And all the while, the conservative side is telling themselves, we're winning, y'all. We're winning the culture war and all this stuff. None of that's the case. There aren't a bunch of green-haired lefties converting to Trump conservatives or any of that mess like they talk to themselves. And, I in a way, I realize, ignorance is bliss and all of that. And it probably would be kind of, I don't want to say fun, but I guess that's the correct word. It would probably be fun to be a blissfully ignorant Trump-servative. You know what I mean? You'd have all this optimism that's just whatever, but a bunch of hot air blowing at you every day up your butt. But, you know, what am I trying to say here? I see the allure of it, right? I see the allure. It's, you know, I was talking with a guy the other day, and he's just high on life that they're bombing Iran. And I'm like, bro, you can't, what? And he was like, oh, yeah, man, you know, here's the thing. I get the whole concept that the Muslims have taken it over and that it used to be whiteys that lived there and that it used to be, you know, normal, like look like white America there in the 60s and all that before the Muslims took it over. I do totally understand that. I get that and all that. But Jews are who flooded the area with the Muslims, just like they've done to America, just like they've done to Europe, just like they've done everywhere else. The only reason Muslims are there is because Jews put them there. And so now they just want to send a bunch of pissed off, fighting age male, brown Iranians, not the white people, but fighting age male brown Iranians here, as they call them, Muslims, and they're going to say, oh, they're from a war-torn country and all this, and meanwhile, it's all fighting age males, so they all fled the war-torn country while the women and children stayed behind. And so, you know, and they have their excuses like, oh, I'm here for economic reasons so I can send money back to my family and all this, and that's their excuse of why it's all fighting age males. But then half of them have no family, no kids. You know, only half of them have kids and families. The other half don't have any woman, don't have any kids. They're just here to prey on white people. And really, all of them are here to do that. But, you know, some have families and kids back home they send money to, and some don't. So, and, you know, with Trump, you know, you would think by now people would be sick of hearing all the fake optimism that comes from him every day. The best ever. We're totally obliterated all their shit. He acts like there's, well, the thing is with Trump conservatives, they won't cross-check with anywhere else. But he acts like there's no one on earth that will cross-check his BS and check with some other sites that prove that, you know, Israel's been taking a lot of hits and Iran's still bombing whoever they want whenever they feel like it, and they have plenty of munitions left. They've burned up over $150 billion of our ammunition by now. And for what? You know, yeah, we caused a big stir over there. We pissed everyone off over there, except for some people. Of course, there are some people who would love to see the Muslim thing eradicated, but the thing is, it's just it's not that I'm against getting rid of Muslims from an area that used to be white. It's that the Jews put them there, and now the Jews want to bomb the area and use the excuse of that to flood us with the Muslims from there. You know what I mean? And I'm no dummy, so I know that's what they're up to, and I know that's their modus operandi. That's what they do everywhere they ever attack and bomb and shit. They send them to the place that bombed them, which is the most retarded thing. You would never in any situation, whether it's a, you know, gang fight or cartel wars or anything like that, would you start shooting at each other or bomb the crap out of each other's place and then be like, here, quick, hurry, all of you that we just bombed the shit out of, come over here to our side, come on in, prey on our women while you're angry at us, and da-da-da. I mean, it's the most dumb, suicidal, retarded thing, and it's literally an act of war when any Jew or non-white or even a white person in our government insists that we take even one motherfucker from a place that we just bombed the shit out of. You know what I mean? Not even a woman. Why would we want a woman here? Women can cause crazy damage if they get into the right place. You know? Why would we want a child here? It could grow up and hate us once it grows up. Look at all these white families that raise up they adopt some brownoid or whatever, or a black kid, and they freaking raise it up, and then it murders them. You know? And half the time it murders them before it's even old enough to drink. They usually murder the white adoptee parents by the time they're freaking 18. So it's just we're in this endless retarded loop, this like, how long do we have to listen to the same hot air every day from Trump while the Trump conservatives continue worshiping him? And I know it seems like surely we'll be able to get through to them at some point, but honestly, that's not going to end up happening. They're just going to stay with him all the way to the end. And after he leaves office and he never did anything positive for us, never accomplished any of the things he said he would do during the election campaigns, either one of them, and all of that, they will still say he was the best dadgum president we've ever had. You know what I mean? And there's just no way to, there's no way to ever convince them otherwise. So we're in this like between this rock and a hard place kind of thing, where half of our white people are completely suicidal, cucked idiots. And then the other half are the same thing, but they LARP as though they're based and right wing. And so it's no wonder that our prophecy in the Holy Bible tells us that when the time comes, even if we have a rising up, and hopefully we will, I think it will not be worldwide necessarily. I think it'll only happen here in America or perhaps also in Europe. And it will be not as awesome as we'd love it to be. You know what I mean? It's only going to be a mild little rising up. And all that'll end up amounting to, which is still great and is necessary, and that's why we're doing all of this, but all it will end up amounting to is maybe a few million more white people saved who start spreading the message like we do, change their life, realize what the truth is, have all the epiphanies, but it's still too little too late. You know what I mean? And so by the 3.5 years from now mark, the Great Tribulation will begin. So I hope all of you are prepping up in some way, shape, or form, and it doesn't have to be, lots of money or anything like that. Hello, Rooster Cogburn. Hello. I just saw that. Sorry about that. I've been walking past the device now and then that I have set up, and I saw that you had said hello. God bless you, and I hope you had a happy Sabbath. I hope Jack had a happy Sabbath. God bless you, and happy Sabbath to you. And, so it's, we're in this just stupid zone where it's stupid in every direction. It's stupid to the left. It's stupid to the right because it's not actually the right. We're actually further right than all fake right-wingers. So we look to our right and we don't see anybody. We're all the way to the right. And then we have everyone else to the left. And that's what makes it so frustrating and disheartening. And each person can only say what they can say to however many people, and you can only express it 25 different ways. I mean, between me and everyone online, who does spread truth, whether it's Jack or it's any other people who speak in their stuff, and try to explain out certain scenarios and circumstances of our people. Regardless of how many, we've explained it every which way, and we've created hypotheticals to be like, okay, if you had this and this, and we've went above and beyond and then some to try to cause the super obvious epiphany to occur to even, the least cucked of our people. And still, as soon as we explain to them that we're God's special people, obviously, look the fuck around, you know what I mean? And when we explain to them that there is no such thing as any third world white country, that there's no such thing as that, and force them to ponder that circumstance for a minute. Swish that around in your mouth however long you need to until you finally taste it. And then you have, the opposite you can say, or, you can say, there are no white people clamoring to any third world country or any brown or non-white. Non-white's the best word to say. You can just say there are no white people by the millions clamoring to get into any non-white country. Just doesn't exist. And, you know, there are certain ways and things we can say to explain, you know, that, hey, it's really freaking obvious here. Who's who in our Holy Bible? The Jews have never created shit. That's why they spread all these stupid rumors about, and they always give the credit most of the time to the IDF, right? They always claim like the IDF is this mystical force of Jews that come up with all these neat inventions, like, you know, 3D mapping a building when they collapsed a building down in Florida, or the whatever high-tech tools they've been talking about lately. They will brag about them as being this IDF invention or an Israeli invented so-and-so. And none of that's true, of course. White people, obviously, are who create all those things, and then we simply hand them over to Jews, or they have someone in government who immediately steals the info and surrenders it to them. And so they create nothing. And once you point that out to, you know, conservatives particularly, you can't really point anything out to a leftist because trying to talk to them is practically worthless. But when you point it out to conservatives, you know, it's at some point you would expect, after all the different explanations and showing them example after example after example after example of white people slaughtered, raped, ruined for the rest of their life. They're petrified and their virginity taken. They're ruined. The girl's, you know, shattered forever in her mind and soul and body even, and all these things by some random Negro from, you know, Africa, fresh off the dinghy. Well, in our case, fresh from the airplane. And so regardless of all of that, we still, we cannot get tens of millions or 100 million white people worldwide to realize, good fucking grief, we need to snap out of our stupidity. We need to end our cuckery, completely sever it where there is none, zero cuckery whatsoever. And that's the thing that has to happen, right? So we can't have any like half-stepping, beat around the bush, pussyfooting along about the situation we're in. We actually have to, as a nation of white people, have to say, fuck this. We've had enough. This is all bullshit. Our world is ruined. Our country is destroyed. All of our money's been stolen from us for the next 10,000 years. And thankfully, we only have 7 to wait. But what if we had to go 20,000 years or something, right? We would already owe the Jews perpetually forever to the end of that shit. Says them. And says our government, who are the Shabbos Goy who obey them. If I ever take power over this country, I'm erasing that to the number 0 on day one. The United States officially owes $0.00. I don't give a shit who of this, by the time I would take power, $58 trillion is supposedly owed to, which you know it's going to be 100% Jews. I don't give two shits. America, as of right now, forgives itself of all of that debt. That's imaginary debt created by fraud against us. And not only would I declare that the United States has $0 debt to anyone, I don't give a fuck whether it's China or whoever we're talking about, but I would also demand that every non-white country who had flooded us with non-whites owes us a percentage of their gross national product. So whatever their most banging things are they sell, whether it's, you know, fruits or if they have, you know, minerals or whatever it is, we get a portion of it from now on, mafia style. And if they don't pay up, we bomb their ass. because they owe us. Not only do we are going to erase our debt, but they owe us all this money back for the 10,000 years they took from us. And we will force them to pay it back by their own labor and their own resources if I'm ever given power. And I am running for Senate this year. I haven't, I haven't really had to do anything yet because, like I showed y'all, the way you run is you have to turn the stuff in just a few days before June 16th. I would definitely turn it in maybe 30 days. I would say even 30 days before June 16th this year. Pay the money, fill out the Declaration of Candidacy. I did say that right, yeah. And then what's the other one? The statement, the financial statement, but it's nothing. You check the box that says range, and then you just select whichever range you want. You could put 0 to 50,000. You could put, I don't know what the ranges are, but it's like 0 to 50, I think, and then 50 to 150 or something like that. Just select whatever you want. You can just make one up if you want. And then boom, you're running for office, And hey, if you don't get picked, right? That's your first attempt. That's it. It's only your first attempt, right? 2 years later, boom, run again. Same everything. Or you could pick a better county to run in, or whatever. But just pick, or a better, you might have moved to another state in the 2 years' time and then run in that state, So, but if we all start running, y'all, for Senate, we could actually take it over in a sense. Not take it over, but we could really cause it a mega problem, and start making serious waves and actual real objection to the assholes in D.C. And, of course, a lot of people would believe that it's impossible for us to do, but with God, all things are possible. So all we have to do is just do it for God, try for God, show him that we're trying, show him that we want to do it, and he will bless our endeavor, So I'm going for it. I hope a lot of you all do too. Use the name Adam, a white man. The last name is a white man. In other words, white man, but with an A as the actual first letter of the last name. A white man. And that way, if they see that you're running and they're like, ooh, this looks like a white candidate here, a pro-white person, a David Duke style or whatever person, let's flip to putting last names first on the ballot, and that'll put white man at the bottom. And he'll see every other name on the ballot before they'll ever, or voters will see every name on the ballot before they'll ever see that one. Instead, if you put Adam, a white man, it won't matter if they have them set up for first names first in the list alphabetically, or if they do last names first. You will be the first name under the two primary candidates. And you're running independent, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to have signatures. You don't have to have, which you would have to have otherwise. And you don't have to debate in the primary. You don't have to attend any primary debate or function. You don't have to compete for the main name on the ballot. All right? So that's why running independent is better in every way, shape, and form. And a lot of people, hopefully, are going to finally decide, you know what? I'm sick of the right-left thing. Everybody keeps telling me it's two wings of the same bird. Let me pick an independent for once and see, if they're worth a shit. And boom, they see Adam, a white man. And remember, all of us can run as that name. You simply, on the Declaration of Candidacy, you check, or not check, but there's a line that says DBA, doing business as. And you just write Adam, a white man, right there. And instead of your real name, all right, instead of Steve Wilkins or whatever, it'll be, you know, what you call it, whatever name you wanted it to be on the ballot. And so Adam, a white man, is perfect because all of us can run as that. We could have Adam, a white man, as a congressperson and a senator and a mayor and a police chief in every state. You could have thousands of white people who are pro-white in every state and city and county across the country, all using the name Adam, a white man. So, you know, there's just so much more that can be done than has been tried to be done so far. And that's why I'm so gung-ho about getting started on doing this, because, you know, you can't expect to win your first one, but if you try every 2 years, one of these times you might get it, right? Look at all these nogs. Try to find someone who's running unopposed in your state, all right, for Senate. If there's any senator running unopposed from any county in your state, that's who you run against, all right? And because they're running unopposed, that's how they're winning. That's how you see these. Oh, that's not how every one of them, but that's how some of these dipshit blacks and whoever end up being city commissioner, board members, whoever's, because they ran unopposed. No one contested them at all. And had any white person contested them, they most likely would have won. So that's you. That's you. Run against the unopposed. Find out. All you have to do is Google AI it. You know? You live in Delaware, be like, hey, Google AI, who is running unopposed for Senate in 2026 in the state of Delaware? And it'll tell you. And if there isn't any, well, then you'll have to try a different approach. But you could say, okay, well, not senator, then what about what's next down from that? Well, you could try governor. Try governor, right? And then say, okay, what about, city commissioner, city mayor, and just go down the list, but start at the top. Start with senator, because that's ultimately what you'd really like to be. That's when you can really make waves. Everything else is localized in your state. You want to make it to D.C., and the quickest, cheapest, direct path to D.C. is running for Senate. I have determined that already, and I showed that in a stream already. So I'm encouraging all white men to run for office and run for Senate. Don't run for other things. It'd be a much bigger waste of your time. Just run for Senate, and that'll be the cheapest, the easiest, and basically almost no effort at all to have your name on the ballot. And I've already given you a great, 1-2, bam, bam with doing the name and everything. So I hope to see lots of Adam, a white man's win in 2026 or at latest 2028. Remember, that would give us an entire 2 years. No, not really. It'll give us an entire year almost, or about a whole year, for us to, have a little bit of power, have a little bit of whipping effect, whatever. And then the Great Tribulation will come after that into 2029, toward the end. It'll be before the end of 2029. It's going to probably start in September, August, October. I don't really know. But it will be right around the fall of 2029 is when the Great Tribulation is scheduled to begin, per the blood moons and eclipses since Christ's sacrifice. So I realize I got started mega late tonight, and so I'm only going to have a couple people chime in now and then, and everybody's going to have to go to bed and everything, so that's totally cool. But if anybody thinks of something they want to discuss, please put it in the chat, and we will discuss it. I'm just, kind of rehearsing some things until someone comes up with something in the chat, and if no one does, then I'll try to think of some of the things that happened this week. I could just go through my most recent screenshots. I could go inside, grab my other device and go through the screenshots and stuff and see remind myself of what all happened this week. But a bunch of crazy stuff, just crazy stuff, murders of people of ours and all the usual stuff, just gosh, it's so bad. And who knows? Remember, it's think of the iceberg effect, or the iceberg principle. I mean, we're basically only discovering probably 10%, maybe less, than what's actually happening in the country, because so much of it goes unreported, and so much of it goes swept under the rug by the cops. And it's not always the cops' fault. The cops may arrest the thug or whatever, but then, of course, the Jewish DA or the Jewish judge and the black DA or the black judge and the black DA or the freaking sellout Shabbos Goy white guy judge and Shabbos Goy sellout DA will drop the charges on them, right? Or drop the big charge and then have them plead guilty to some nothing offense, like evading the police, or which used to be a big deal, but now it's not for them. And then they'll plead guilty to that. And then the other major thing, like rape and murder and everything else, they'll just drop the shit, and then the guy's out in a year or 10 months or whatever. Sometimes, released almost right away. And so, that's kind of why I want to push white people to get into the Senate, because, we'll be above all these lower courts, all these DEI hires, these black hires, all these non-whites they flooded our government with. We'll be above all of them as senators. You know what I mean? And suddenly, just in a blink of an eye, you're elected, and boom, you're the senator, of your state, whatever, your district. So, we definitely need to do it. All right. If we don't do it, there will be no white people who are pro-white ever do it. So it has to be us pro-white people. There aren't any other pro-white people. So we pretty much have to do it. And so I just encourage all of you to consider it, pray about it, consider it deeply, and pray about it, and see where you're at. Because if the Lord hints at you in any way, shape, or form to go for it, that means go for it. And that means God is encouraging you for a reason. He's not guaranteeing you victory. He's not telling you, hey, go for it, and I'm going to see to it that you win. That's not what he's saying. He's telling you, if he tells you to go for it, if he hints it at all, that means he's saying yes. And if he does, he's telling you that because he wants something out of you. He wants effort out of you. He wants money out of you. All right? Maybe you never tithe, right? And so you owe him. And so by paying this money and losing an election to pay the money to run for office, he at least is satisfied. That's what he wanted you to do. He wanted you to run for office knowing you were going to fail, but he doesn't care. He wants you to do it. And so if he hints that to you at all, don't hesitate to go ahead and do it. Because it won't matter if you don't win. It'll matter that you satisfied God's expectation of you. You functioned as intended. And so that's what I encourage. You know what I mean? And, if God doesn't move on you to do, excuse me, I'm yawning and everything else. Man, I've been up since so early. If God doesn't impress on you at all whatsoever, even a hint, smidgen, anything, a whisper, nothing to do so, well, then, maybe just think about it some more anyway. Because truly, that is the only way, all right, for us to ever start making a change. What if I'm ass wrong, which I don't think I am, but what if I'm wrong and Christ isn't coming in 7 years? And so that would mean we've got at least 214 more to go, which is what I used to teach. And that would mean in our lifetimes, we're going to die and never see a resolve unless we cause it. All right? So right now, Gen X, we are in the prime of our adulthood. Okay? By prime, I mean, I know some people are already beat up real bad physically by now. But Generation X we are the adults now. It's our turn. Our generation before us are elders. They are elderly now. All right. And so we are the ones who can still drive cars and operate machinery and fist fight if we gotta and defend the country physically and the whole thing. We're the ones who have the wit because of our age, but we have the knowledge because of our age. We're right in the sweet spot for ourselves and the expected spot, by the way. It was expected of all of our ancestors before us to already be in charge of our country by now. Are we going to just let non-whites by the thousands keep running for offices unopposed by any white people? How stupid is that when we could at least be running against them, showing our holy God, look, I'm running against them, you know? And if I get selected and I get to go to D.C., I'm going to freaking obey your way, God, and I'm going to put white people first and only. And anything that even hints toward working against white people or taking 1 red cent from white people or borrowing and then expecting the government, meaning white people, to pay the loan back. No grants, no loans, no approval for free housing, no clearing forests to build apartment complexes out in the rural areas to trash whitey with millions of fresh blacks from Africa. No, or Iranians and the Muslims from Iran in this case. No more any of this garbage. No more mosques in our country. They'll all be leveled. No more synagogues in our country. Buddhist temples. They'll all be leveled. No more Spanish supposed Christian churches. They'll be leveled. This is America. We don't require any Spanish-speaking fake Christian churches. All of them will be going home. And granted, I'm getting ahead of myself here. I can't do all that as senator. But if we all moved into office as senators, we could cause this. You know what I mean? Not directly, but indirectly we could. It's not impossible, especially with our holy God on our side, and consider that white people are the only race who have, other than maybe the Asians, but they descend from Adam and Eve as well. So we are the only people, though, particularly and profoundly so much so, who have overcome enormous obstacles. And we only were capable of doing so because of our God. It has nothing to do with our own anything. Our holy God gave us every inch of our wit, every smidgen of our abilities. And so all the glory is his, and he is the reason. But it's white people who he blessed to have this blessing. So that's that. Only white people have accomplished and overcame these seemingly impossible situations. And with a miraculous level of victory at the end of it all. Or cleverness in the way we escape the situation or overcome the situation or outsmart the scenario, whatever. And so that is what we are, that is what we are known for. That's what we are famous for among all the non-whites. They watch our airplanes fly overhead. They see our helicopters fly by. They look at all the infrastructure that they enjoy every day as they're sitting in a car that they know white people invented. They're wearing white people clothes or enjoying white people air conditioning blowing on them. They know. They know. Only white people don't know. And so what? Are we going to just let them keep running for all the offices until they take them all up? That's the beast system. So why don't we get ourselves involved in our own government? Have some say-so. Be the pro-white people in our government. Now we have representation. If you folks and I become senators Now white people have representation in Washington, D.C., where we don't right now. You think Massey is pro-white? No. There are no pro-white people in D.C. So that means if it's never any of us, then we will never take our country, our government back, right? So the way I operate is as though I'm incorrect. I don't operate totally this way, though, but when it comes to trying to win our country back, we need to operate like Christ isn't coming in 7 years. We need to operate like we're going to die old and miserable and in the hands of non-whites if we don't fight for our country right now. And, you know, since we're very limited as individual white people in how we fight back against this occupation of our government, running for office is a very slick way of one person at a time of ours as individuals being able to actually fight back. The only other option is the Second Amendment, and we can't get enough white people uncucked to do it. Look at all the ones who are pro-Second Amendment, who attended a Second Amendment rally, flew all the way to Washington, D.C. from all over the country. You know, there were Second Amendment cucks that flew there from Texas and middle of the country and California and all these places. They fly all the way there, thousands of dollars spent on hotel and flights and the whole thing and loss of work. And then what do? They stand wherever the Jews and the government tell them to stand, and then they move to wherever the Jews and the government tell them they got to move to and stand. They showed up unarmed, incapable, therefore, of taking our country back. It was a miserable failure that was laughed at. The Jews must have been hanging out in their synagogues just roaring with laughter. They probably had it on Jewish pay-per-view. Actually, nah, the Jews don't charge each other or anything, so. But I bet you they had it in their own closed circuit network TV. They had some kind of CCTV network for just the Jews. And I'll bet you they had it running on that all day and night, laughing their ass off. We look like such retarded cucks to the non-whites and Jews. It's just embarrassing when you realize just how bad our people are. It's just a constant, non-stop humiliation ritual, you know? Like, I was with some people today that I've known a long time. I like them very much. Great people. I had good fellowshipping, you know, but this one in the group, he's a cuck, you know? And so every non-white that gets near him, they weren't in our group, but as we were exploring where we were out in the city, every non-white he encountered, he would be like talking to them and wanting to high five with them and acting all like interested in whatever they've got to say back to him, you know, even though we're just walking past these idiots on a sidewalk. And I felt like turning to the guy and be like, dude, you need to stop before you get stuck in the neck by one of these freaking nogs you keep trying to talk to. They're not your friends. They don't want to talk to you. They just want your shit. And your dumbass is over here, yo, what's your name? What's your name? Wants their name. Wants them to tell him their name. And then, what you out doing today, cuz? And talking like a black and shit at him. It's like so embarrassing. And I'm thinking to myself, you cucked moron. If you just realized how much of a sucker. He literally looked to that black like a chicken wing, a gigantic chicken wing, just completely doused all over in hot sauce, and just walked right up to him. Oh, hey, Mr. Nigger. Would you like to stab me in the neck and take my wallet and all my things and empty my bank account into your pocket? My keys are in my left pocket if you want to drive my car away from the scene. I mean, it's just, ugh. It makes me want to vomit. It truly is nauseating listening to these idiots. So, and they'll like demean themselves to joke around with non-whites. I heard a white guy one day talk about his junk being obviously smaller than this black dude's that he was talking to. I'm like, I wanted to walk up and just smash the dude's face into the wall. You know, he was standing next to a doorway and a wall, and I just happened to be walking by as he made that freaking joke. And I just wanted to stop in my tracks and just wham and just slam his head sideways directly into the freaking wall. And then tell the black, you know, he's an idiot. Don't listen to him, you know. But it's just every single day, everywhere I go in public, you know, even when I'm trying to have fun and fellowship with people I've been known for a long time, never fails. Somebody has to be a cuck, you know. And thankfully, the others aren't, because they know my position. They know I'm pro-white. They know that I want all the non-whites out of the country. They know all of that. And so, but this one just can't help himself. He just has to be a cuck everywhere he goes. And so, you know, I love him to death. He's a great guy, but it's just so embarrassing. And it's embarrassing for him, not just for me, you know, as a white guy who's awake, but he's embarrassing his own self, you know, right in the eyes of the non-whites, and he's completely oblivious to it. He thinks that he's winning them over. He thinks he's a non-white whisperer, you know what I mean? That's what he thinks. And then he's all proud of himself after he walks away from him. And he's still hollering. He'll be looking back at him. And, of course, you know how blacks are. They'll, as they're walking away, keep looking back and talking to whatever. So he'll be like, okay, I'll see you around. All right, hey, nice to meet you. Hey, all right. And, I mean, we're already, like, we're dragging him along. We're like, come on, man. We're, like, 50 feet away from the noggin. He's still turned around hollering back at the dude and shit, back and forth. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up and just walk with us and stop talking to every retarded random non-white you walk past. Good grief. It's what I wanted to say, you know, but it was Sabbath and I'm trying to just enjoy my Sabbath with my peeps, and they're not my peeps, my closest peeps, but they are people I've known for a long time. And so I guess I could still call them peeps, you know. I don't really hang out with them anymore. I moved on, they moved on, and it just so happens they were having a get-together, and so, you know, I, of course, attended because I could, and I got to see all the old acquaintances and old coworkers, and so, but, you know, they kind of were my peeps, because back then, I mean, that was my life all the way back then. That was my people I worked with and did my stuff with and everything, so I guess I could call them peeps still, even though none of us ever talk to each other anymore. But it was good, and it was on a Sabbath. That's another thing that made it so much more interesting and fun, was that it was on a Sabbath. And of course, they aren't Sabbath keepers, so they had, you know, they didn't really plan that out that way. But they know I'm a Sabbath keeper, so they knew I was happy about it, and I made that known. And but, you know, this is, you know, this next 3.5 years, we really have to push, y'all. And one of the best and healthiest ways to push is to just obey God if he tells you to run for office. Just do it. Just do what the instructions I gave you. Go back to the stream 4 streams ago or whatever when I showed you in detail on the video or on the screen the steps that you take. It's just 3 simple steps. So low effort, you know, and very little money. The most it gets up to, depending on what state, I think is $30-something $100, which sounds like a lot, but it's honestly not, for a chance to be picked by, you know, the people allegedly to get to go to DC. And if we never try, You got to think about it like the lottery. Those people that say, and they're right, that if you never play, well, then you're guaranteeing that you will never win. Well, that's the same thing with our government. If we never play in our own government, then non-whites who are fresh off the boat that come here or fresh off the plane who come here happily will. Blacks that are, trying to make something of themselves happily will. Muslims and Indians that come here, hungry to take as much of white people's shit as they can, absolutely will. So are we going to just let it keep happening? More and more Indians, more and more blacks, more and more Jews, filling up every single seat of our country? More and more Shaboskoy white people? When instead, the third name down on the ballot, Adam, a white man. It just makes the most sense. And, nobody can accuse you of the scary R word. Well, they could accuse you of it. But even if they blamed you for having, your own opinions against non-whites or whatever, a lot more white people are welcoming of that now, Black fatigue's at an all-time high. White people are fed up and pissed off. And they're still too cucked to admit that it's because of non-whites. And they're definitely too cucked to admit that it is the Jews who brought them here. There are at least a bunch of them that are pissed off at both parties and may just say, heck with it, I'm going to vote for an independent since there is one independent here. It could totally happen, y'all. And like I said, one more time, I'll say again, even if you lose, you satisfied God's expectation. You pleased our holy God to do so, if he tells you to. And if he does, and you do so, he will be very pleased, and you will be called great in heaven. Sorry about that. I was zoning on something real quick. I was seeing if there was something going on out back. So I hope all of you. Oh, let me check the chat. I got back to the thing here. Let's see here. Everybody had said hello to Jack. That's awesome. Some people welcomed Sarah Hollow to the stream. That's awesome. Thank you. And Sarah Hollow said, I would like to suggest topics to discuss, but unfortunately Australia has new laws, new J laws, where we can't say much. Turning like the UK, no political party side with us. The government banned the NSN. Well, thank you, first of all, for chiming in all the way from Australia. That's amazing, and you have a beautiful country, and I would love to visit there someday. So thank you so much for chiming in from so far away, all the way across the world. That's amazing. And that just shows y'all, the reach that we have in this future that we live in. We live in the future. We can talk to people all the way across the world. That's amazing. And then we have another person that chimed in. Chris Callahan chimed in. Hello, God bless you. And happy Sabbath to you. And he said, is BB dead? Oh, gosh. One could only hope. But I haven't heard any news like that. If you've heard that news somewhere, by all means, go reread it and make sure you read it right. Make sure it's not The Onion. And, man, I'd love to hear that kind of news. Boy, that would be the cherry on top of today, boy, I tell you. Killed on a Sabbath. Wow. Awesome. And he deserves it. Yeah, that one creature has caused the death and doom and rape and ruin of so many of our white people. And he's also caused death and doom and rape and destruction on millions of brownoids too. So, of course, I don't count that as anything, but I do still. I mean, if he wasn't doing it to white people, then I would still be pissed that he's doing it, because, you know, non-whites, I don't want them to just be attacked and murdered and raped and all those things. I don't want that to happen to non-whites. You know what I mean? And if white people still had dominion over this world and all that's in it, we could prevent the Jews from being wicked against the non-whites like they do, especially particular with the blacks like they did. But since we're not in charge anymore, and, you know, the Jews are particularly the ones in charge over us right now, it's caused this crazy upside down circumstance we have. But, you know, non-whites would actually be safer under white people's control, obviously, you know, and that includes in their own countries, you know, where they can't keep their own shithole country and government going properly without, you know, one small group trying to take over the whole thing or whatever. We could police it a little bit, but we have no business policing any non-white country when we don't even police our own countries properly. 0.0. We have to fix our countries before we ever start thinking about anybody else's. And of course, our government is hell-bent on doing the exact opposite. So, yeah, you know, things are going to get uglier and uglier. But be on the lookout for certain victories white people will have, you know, because the Lord says we will have some. And so for this next 3.5 years, be looking for opportunities, be more careful to make the more correct decision if you're looking at a circumstance and it seems almost impossible or it's some crazy weird situation like a puzzle. Stop and think, you know, about what is the best way through this. And what that'll do is that'll keep you from looking erratic, speaking erratic. You won't look like you're not in control of a circumstance. All of those things matter, especially when the non-whites are watching you, you know. So make sure your moves are calculated and thought about before you move. That way you don't just hose yourself. I'm getting deeper than I need to be on that with examples, but you understand what I mean. And so, and don't take yourself down some crazy path where you end up getting yourself locked up. That's not what this channel is about. But running for office, I hate to circle back Jen Psaki style, but running for office, that is one of the greatest ways that any pro-white individual can, you know, contest and protest against all the crazy non-whites that are in our government now. So if not, we're just every election cycle, we're going to see more blacks, more non-whites as the senators and governors and congresspersons and all the shit. So it has to be us. We're the only pro-white people, so that means it has to be us. And there are no other pro-white people who are going to just show up magically and do it for us. It's us. So, but I'm grateful to you all, or I'm grateful for you all, I should say. Grateful to God for you. That's why I said grateful to you all, because I was meaning to say I'm grateful to God, our Holy Father in heaven, for all of you. And I really don't know what all the topics were that I could discuss, because, I mean, gosh, there were murders and rapes and rapes and murders together, and It's just so it's so disheartening, but we have to just keep our faith. Remember, the number one thing that Christ reminds you of over and over again is have faith. And he mentions faith, quite a few times. And I realize it does seem like it's just pointless, it's hopeless, but it's not, y'all. You will reach people. God will bless your endeavors. And all right, let me see what's in the chat. Okay, nobody had said anything. Yeah, so BB dead, man, I don't know. That's crazy. I don't know. I have not been anywhere near a Talmud Vision. I haven't even got to look at YouTube today, y'all, because as soon as I got home, I literally just put everything together and turned it on and started. The instant I could start is when I hit start. So I didn't even have 1 second before this stream available to even cruise YouTube and read about anything like that. But what a blessing that would be. Wow. He's such a worthless, garbage, Edomite, mongrel, Canaanite. And, of course, all the conservatives are like, he's not even Jewish, he's from Poland. It's like, dude, you're an idiot. Just because a Jew lives somewhere doesn't mean that's where he's from, if you will, and it doesn't mean that's his ethnicity at all. It's not his nationality, true nationality. And so, of course, you all know that, but it's just so annoying hearing that same bullshit, from the Trump conservatives and everything. Yeah, and I mean, because there was so much that went on the last 2 weeks, and I didn't touch on any of it not all of it, but I didn't touch on most of it last week, and so much has happened this week too that I can't even, without going through another device or this one and looking up some of the screenshots, I wouldn't know which ones to pick out. So and I'm exhausted too, so I'm, I just, more or less, I just wanted to get on and say hello to everyone and tell you, that I'm sorry that I missed being able to talk to y'all on Sabbath, but that I would see y'all again, in another stream coming up and all that jazz. So maybe I'll shut it down super early tonight and just kill it early, because I'm so tired and everybody's, it's already crazy late. Everybody, I'm sure, is either passing out or wanting to go to bed. And, we can pick this up later in the week. I do still have a busy week this week coming up, so I don't know really. It'll probably have to be a Wednesday night stream or something like that. Definitely won't be able to be a Tuesday night this particular week, so maybe we'll do a Wednesday night stream, and that would give me an afternoon after work to try to edit a bunch of videos. It probably won't be the hundreds or whatever that I have ready to go, but it'll be as many as I can do and then start the stream. So and that would allow me to get to bed a decent hour still and recuperate a little bit. And I'm sorry if cutting off so soon is a bummer to anyone, but we'll make it up. We'll make it up. It'll be a lot better on Wednesday night, because I'll have the new slideshow with all the most fresh things that have happened, and I'll pick some things to talk about. I'll have some time in the afternoon to figure that out before we start. And who knows, other thing may come up between now and then that we want to talk about instead. So But I will look up the thing about BB, but, I figure I'll probably be disappointed. And what else? Trying to think. Yeah, short of going through one of my devices and trying to find some of the things that happened, and I don't even know like the details about them. Oh, I guess I could point out the one thing, that crazy story that I posted in the community posts about Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico for the last since during Trump, they've been, I think during his first times when they started, they banned the toxic coal ash that they have from their power plant there, right? That's like the waste product from it. They banned it from their own island because it was giving children or women and children birth defects and pregnancy problems, and it was causing people all kinds of cancer. And so what do? They ban it there, and then they just send it to America. And we're talking hundreds. I put hundreds in the post, but it's actually hundreds of thousands of tons. Not hundreds of tons, not thousands of tons, hundreds of thousands of tons. And the bad part about it, the worst part about it, I should say, is that the truckers who ship it from where it shows up, at a port, and then it's dumped into these dump trucks and they drive it to the facility, all along the way, all the cars behind them are just being dusted. It's just flying out of the cracks and seams and out of the top. And so they're just being crop dusted with this poisonous coal ash. And this has been happening in Georgia, and I guess it used to happen in Florida, but now they've moved it to Georgia or something. But it still happens to Florida too, because they have to drive from the port all the way up to Georgia, wherever that is. Now, maybe they're coming in somewhere near Georgia, so they only have to drive a little ways. But, hey, any of that drive, you're basically crop dusting all the people behind you, and you're leaving the residue of it all over our roads. And so now Georgia is going to have these, maybe not radioactive, but these toxic, essentially could be dangerous to your body, freaking substance all over the roads, wherever the path is that those truckers take. So I thought that was wild. And what's crazy is, I just stumbled upon that, and that's like a super old advertisement or article. That's what I was trying to say. It's a super old article. And yet I stumbled into it, and I'm like, oh, man, how did I not know about this, being a pro-white person? So I figured I would show you all that. But anyhow, I guess I will get out of here for tonight. And I just wanted to get on and say hello and tell all of you happy Sabbath, and apologize that I wasn't able to talk to you on Sabbath yesterday night. But I just wanted to give you all some encouragement that you can power on with Jesus Christ guarding you and the Holy Ghost protecting you. You can power on, and we will be victorious. In 7 years, everything will be set right. So just keep your chin up, y'all, and walk strong and walk in faith and walk with dignity and carry yourself and conduct yourself with dignity and be brotherly toward our own kind. Look past their faults as best you can. I know that's difficult for us to do as white people, but do your best. And, because we have to be tribal. So, of course, if a white person does something heinous, you don't have to be supportive of that or worried about that white person because of that. But any normal, typical bullshit, look the other way, just like the blacks would about blacks. We have to be tribed up. And so, I do love you all. am super grateful for all of you and for all of your knowledge and help. And we will prevail through God himself in the end, you know. So y'all just, you know, stick to it, you know, stay at it, and crank along as though we have way more than 7 years till Christ arrives. And I want everyone to know you have a place to go that is ultra based, that would never allow any non-white to stay in our country whatsoever, that would never allow any Jew to stay in our country whatsoever. Immediate removal from all government positions, all military positions, and then immediately all of them expelled from our countries. I just want you to know you have a place to come where you can listen to someone who is as based, you know, as you'd like me to be. And so, and I hope y'all copy a lot of these as screenshots, these examples. And remember, when we take our country back, if we do, because I'm wrong about Christ arriving in 2017 or 2033, let's say I am wrong and, you know, we got to keep on trucking. Well, then we're rock and roll that way because we're already working toward that and working toward winning our country back. And so, but my point of saying that was it's, gosh, it like left my mind, but it's like right at the tip of my tongue. It's a byproduct of a thing I was talking about, that doesn't help us, but it's a byproduct that helps them. Crud. I forgot what it was. But anyhow, I'll worry about that on another day when I'm not so loopy because I'm so tired. I've been up for a long time and we've been on the go doing things all day and I'm just falling apart tonight. But I did want to at least say hi to y'all and tell y'all I hope you had a wonderful Sabbath today. And you know, later in the week we'll pick this back up. Probably a Wednesday night stream. And then, yeah, we'll do it again. And so I'll shut her down tonight. God bless you all. Happy Sabbath. And I just wanted to say hello. And so, hey, John Connor just showed up. I apologize, buddy. I was going to end it for tonight because I'm so exhausted. And everybody else, you know, is probably trying to go to bed because it's so late. But I was encouraging everyone that I would do one later in the week on like a Wednesday night or something. I'll do one. So hopefully I'll be able to start at a nice early time and everybody be able to check it out before they go to bed. And he had asked, what do you think of Paul Miller or Gypsy Crusader? Maybe that's one and the same guy. I mean, I can't get into anyone that does weird character crap like that, you know, but I've heard of the guy, and I mean, some of his takes are based enough as far as against Jews and stuff, but I don't know if he's really pro-white and Christian and all that, proper Christian and everything, so I don't know if he's cucked about non-whites. I think he collaborates with non-whites and shit, but you know, you can, as a smart white person, you can, especially an awake one like ourselves, you can definitely pluck the, you know, good things out of, you know, a non-white or a Hmong or whatever. And that's why I'm always trying to encourage people not to even listen to them at all, because that's what white people are trying to do, is find that morsel of proper, you know, like, oh, yeah, see, this is a good take or whatever from this non-white. But really, all they're doing is repeating stuff that white people have said all along. So we don't need any dung hut wisdom or brownoid wisdom or any of that shit. And so it's just not necessary. It's not required. So I don't really bother with those types, you know. And maybe Gypsy Crusader is white, but he, you know, hangs out with non-whites and collaborates with them and shit. And so that's just bleh. That just ruins it for me. So, so hopefully I answered the question. But yeah, y'all have a lovely evening. Sorry I'm bailing on you, man, after you just got here, but I'm exhausted. Everybody's trying to go to bed. I started so late, so I figured heck with it. I'll just do a more ready to go one later in the week. And so, but God bless you, and I hope you had a happy Sabbath today. And to anyone who I didn't say God bless you and happy Sabbath to, maybe Chris Callahan, if I didn't say that to you, God bless you and happy Sabbath to you today. And I'm pretty sure I said it to Rooster Cogburn, but happy Sabbath, and I hope you had a blessed day today, and I hope God blesses you. And all right, so y'all take care, and I will talk to you in just several days, 3 or 4 days. Wednesday night, we'll do it again, and it'll be much better. I'll have a fresh slideshow, and we'll have some topics to talk about. Who knows? We might do some internet surfing. I might have some cool internet stuff we can check out together. So I'll talk to y'all then, all right? God bless y'all again. Talk to you soon. Happy Sabbath today. I hope y'all had.